Hello BookTube, it's Paul here, and today I thought I would give you something a little bit different. And it's New Year's Day, I've just spent the entire day actually putting all the books that I own into one shelf, into one bookcase rather. And so I thought, with that in mind, I would give you a bit of a bookcase tour. So I'm just going to go along these slowly. I'm not going to shout out everyone, but there's a Scots Queer, big music fan, so there's a good reference book there. A couple of psychology books. Yeats is Dead, that was an interesting book. Short stories written by several different famous writers. No, actually it was one story, and many different writers took one chapter each. That's quite an interesting book. P.D. James, Cover Her Face, nice murder mystery book on bereavement. Biography of Mary Shelley. The Garden of the Evening Mists, that was runner-up for the Booker Prize, I believe, but I just didn't get on too well with that book at all. I didn't like the main characters. Of Human Bondage, Somerset Maugham, that was a good book. Down to the second shelf. Here I have all the Penguin classics. Hopefully you can see some of the names there. Mary Shelley, Frankenstein, one of my favourite books. Good old Charles Dickens. Jane Austen, just to prove I have a wide variety of tastes. Robert Louis Stevenson. Jekyll and Hyde. The Count of Monte Cristo, I loved that book. F. Scott Fitzgerald. The Great Gatsby, I loved The Great Gatsby, it was one of my favourite books. I didn't expect to like that one so much. Dan Brown. Deception Point, I haven't read that one yet. That's one of the few books on this shelf that I haven't read. The Loney, that was a good sort of kind of horror, ghostly kind of a book, I guess. And then down to the next shelf. It's kind of a mini reference section, this shelf, I guess. The Collins Tree Guide. I love the diagrams in those books, the drawn diagrams. That book on birds here is one that it's an old book, but again I love the drawings and that. I'm not much of a bird watcher, but I do enjoy having those books. Some first aid there, some travel books. The poetry section consists of 3 books, so I should probably expand that. The Dummy's Guide to Nutrition. Some Ordnance Survey maps there as well. Down to the next shelf. And we have some Stephen King books. I would really like to add Sleeping Beauties to my collection. When I read that, it was a library book, but I think I'd like to buy it. And then we have some, the Malcolm Gladwell books are very interesting. Tipping Point and Blink, very interesting ideas. He's a good writer, Malcolm Gladwell. And then I guess we've got some Mind, Body and Spirit stuff here. Eckhart Tolle. The Art of Happiness book that I've spoken about a couple of times. Jung. Freud on Murder, Mourning and Melancholy. How's that for some light reading? And then we have some, the Oliver Sacks collection that I have there. And down we go to the Folio Society edition of Charles Dickens, Christmas books. The Marilyn Monroe biography. Obama, that was a book given to me by a friend. The Life of Senna. I used to be heavily into my motor racing. Senna was a great inspiration for me. Sir Ranulph Fiennes books. The Letters of JFK, that was a really interesting, worthwhile read. Captain James Cook biography. Then we're drifting into a little bit of Scottish history. Our old friend on this channel, Mary Queen of Scots. 3 books there. There's some very interesting books of letters written by Mary Queen of Scots. There's one in the library where I work that is letters that were sent between Mary and the Pope at the time. So that is bound to make for some pretty interesting reading. And then down we go to the second glass shelf. Peanuts. Why not, you know? I love reading Peanuts. And we've got the Bible there. I'm not religious, but I have read the Bible from start to finish. And yeah, that's there's so much I could say about that, but let's keep going. That's a good book. Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. History of the American Indian. Very interesting. Anne Frank's diaries there. Endless Struggle and Dance with Life. That's an interesting book by Susan Jeffers, who I believe also coined the phrase feel the fear and do it anyway. The Carl Rogers reader, when I was doing my counselling training, that was a great book. I'm a big fan of Carl Rogers. Probably one of my favourite kind of psychologists. CBT for Anxiety. The GCHQ puzzle book, that was one I just got for Christmas. I'm not a big fan of puzzles, but I may dip into it at some stage. And yeah, Focusing, that is a wonderful book. For anyone that's interested in psychology and the human mind, that is a fascinating book. Affirmations by Noah St. John. The idea around that book is absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, the book is terrible. It's kind of like a, book-long sales pitch that is quite unnecessary, but the idea that he's come up with is wonderful. I've somehow ended up with 2 books on instant confidence. I didn't have much confidence in it when I bought it the first time, so I had to buy it a second time. No, I'll have to get rid of one of those. I don't know why I ended up with 2. And on the last bottom shelf, which is kind of for oversized books, I guess, we've got Atlas. I love looking at maps, a couple of books in the Second World War. Some of the books I had when I was studying psychology there. Interesting stuff. A couple of atlases. There's one that's a bit battered and bruised there. Couple of music books. The Coors, one of my favourite Irish bands. Really love them. Digital photography. Marilyn Monroe Fragments. That is a great book. Just full of photos and things that Marilyn had written on, hotel notepaper and ideas and set lists and all that sort of stuff. Bits of poetry, really interesting. Yeah, Jackie Stewart biography. Really good stuff. Andy Murray book there. Real hero in Scotland for winning Wimbledon. And some 3 cookbooks, and I must confess that they are the least well thumbed books of this entire collection. I really need to sort that out. But yeah, that is my bookshelf tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave any comments and let me know what you thought of that. But yeah, so bye for now, and hope you're having a good day, and yeah, see you in the next video.